a lot of people expected it, and they were extremely supportive. My father was the oldest in his family, the elder, so he basically told everyone, you know, she's my daughter, if you have a problem, screw you. But by family hierarchy, they kind of accepted it. He forced his family to accept it, they dealt with it. The rest of them just eased off, and now everyone's okay. But I was a passing butch. Head, binding, packing, passing per boy. And when I visited my aunts, I wasn't really sure how I could science them, you know, how I could be more affectionate. They just looked at me and said, you know what, girl, we change your diapers, you know. You can still cuddle us, you still are babies, and my aunties still love me very much. My uncles will hang out with me and have a drink and go, so what kind of girls you like? My hair grew out and I became kunyang again. They were just uncomfortable. They crossed the chasm when we still love each other lots. But I need to tell you a story about my dad. My dad is a lecturer in business communications at one of our 5 institutions. He was actually willing to come out as a parent and say, yeah, my child is gay. I had a lesbian friend who was in this class, and he told me how people had to do presentations for him. And one of his students did a presentation on the Maliga parade in Sydney. She was being a typical conservative Christian, saying, look at all these queer people, You know, my father actually stopped her in mid-track and said, you know what? In this course, I taught you to be neutral in the way you say things. You have to be neutral because in this way, you are alienating a lot of people. A lot of people here might be gay. A lot of people might be people here might be people who love people who are gay. And then he just looked at her and said, I have a daughter. She looks quite like you. She's around your age. And she probably has the same interests. And she's gay. And then he told her, and I'm giving you your grades. How do you feel about that?
My test. Okay, to tease you a little bit more so that you will buy the $20 book, SQ21. Okay, we're going to invite Huneng to read an excerpt from her story. Can we please welcome Huneng?
I wish my children were here because they're the ones who I think were very brave coming out to me and then agreeing, because before I agreed to telling the story about their coming out to me, of course I spoke to them first, and they both were very encouraging. So my older son had come out to me. So that evening I went and talked to him, my younger son. I said, Earn, is there something you want to tell me? And then he told me that he was also gay. And then it was hard, because as he said, I know Koko is gay, and it must be difficult for parents to have both sons gay. I can understand now how difficult it must have been for him. And so, after that, I gave him the same spiel all over again. The one about continuing to be friends with everyone. And then I told him how I felt. That is, that I wasn't worried about myself, but for them. My husband didn't react well. When he first found out about me, what he said was, he had sort of guessed already. But now, when he found out about Earn, his reaction to me was, we seem to have hit the jackpot. What are the chances of both sons being gay? 1 in a few million? Well, he obviously had to voice what he felt, but I'm sure he was horribly, horribly disappointed. To his credit, he has been supportive. He's continued to love and support both of our sons, and I don't think he treats them any differently, or loves them any less. Of course, being his wife, I have heard him say 1,000 little things to me that I have to interpret as coming short of full acceptance. The most telling moment was when we separated, about 2.5 years ago. While we were going through the process of breaking up, the first thing he said to me was, "Good. Now that I have the chance to marry another woman, maybe my future children will not be gay." Of all the nasty and hurtful things my husband said and did to me during that troubled time, I would deem that one of the worst. It still rankles with me today. My reaction, once I began to think about it more rationally, was, how can you say that about our children? What's wrong with being gay? Secondly, is he trying to imply that it was my fault that the two boys are gay? So if he marries his girlfriend and has some other children, he can be sure they will not be gay? I have to understand that it's all very difficult for men, especially misogynistic men, who believe in the importance of a family line in traditional Chinese culture. My response to that kind of statement now would be, you should be so lucky if your future children, whether gay or not, are half as wonderful and loving human beings as the two sons we have. I want every parent to know that it really does get easier. The more you read and think and talk about it, the more readily you can accept it. It helps so much to be open about it, to speak honestly, just as they were honest and trusting enough to tell you about themselves in the first place. Why be afraid of them? They really are still the same children that you loved the day before they outed themselves. And we will always love our children. That day, the day after, and every day after that.
Thank you, Hui, for sharing an excerpt from your story. Okay, we want to also thank all the parents who are here tonight. Yishen's dad, okay, Jeremy's mom who's here tonight. If you want to read a little bit more about Jeremy's story or Sheila's story or about Huning's story, please do get the book. It's not expensive, it's $20. Just forgo that tank top, okay, and you can buy a book, yeah? What was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought. Okay, yeah, we're gonna, to close, I'm going to invite Clarence, who sort of spearheaded this initiative to produce this book. And he's going to talk to you a little bit more, one last note, about why this book is so groundbreaking, and I feel that if, everyone should really support this effort. I'm going to buy a book myself, okay? I'm going to ask, are you going to buy it? I'm like, yes, I will. So I'll give you my $20 later, Clarence, okay? This book, I'll buy it. Yeah, so he lent it to me, so I'll buy it from you. Clarence, come on.
I was saying that today, if I hug you, you might fall. Before I go on about the book, we're going to close soon. But I just want to announce that today, this event is part of Indignation. Tomorrow is Indignation's closing night. There are two events happening. One is another book is being launched, a Mandarin book, okay, a Mandarin book, and that is being launched at Expose, which is just nearby. So if you are primarily a Mandarin speaker and you're interested in Mandarin speaking gay people and the development of gay people, the author is Oh Yang, and he's quite a prolific author, and he also is a regular columnist on Friday. He will be launching his book at Expose tomorrow at 7:30. So please make your way to Expose. On the other hand, if you're like me, and you can't say more than ni hao, then I really encourage you. To come to the old Parliament House, not the new Parliament, okay? The Arts House. The old